The problem for a lot of riders is they don't know the cause of their arm pump. And so when you don't know the cause of the arm pump, then you don't know how to treat it properly. So I see a lot of riders that are like taking different supplements, doing a whole heap of different stretches, doing a whole heap of weird stuff to try and get rid of their arm pump with not too much success or long-term success. And that's because they're treating the wrong thing. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on and what's causing arm pump for a lot of you, and then also give you some exercises that you can implement into your gym training. So using this sort of stuff like a barbell and squat rack and weights, so that you can enjoy your riding more and actually be able to hang on. So first thing you need to know is what actually causes the arm pump. Okay, so there's a few things that cause it, but for, I would say, 80% of riders, the main thing is that their arms are doing more of the work than what they should be. And so what I mean by that is when you're on the bike, so if I give you an example here, I'll just stick you guys down here and I'll use my foam roller as an example. If I've got my foam roller here, and let's say this is my bike. When I'm on the bike and I'm in the attack position and I'm standing up, my hands are doing a very little amount of the work. Okay, I think it would probably be fair to say your arms should be doing maybe 20% of the work, your rest of your body's doing about 80% of the work. Okay, and that's why for a lot of you, you don't get arm pump at the start of the ride because your legs are fresh, your core's fresh, your upper back's fresh, everything's fresh. So you're using all of those muscle groups. It's only once these muscle groups start to fatigue, these big powerhouse muscle groups that are actually holding us onto the bike, once they start to fatigue, then our arms and our hands start to do a lot more of the work. So instead of our hands, arms, and upper body being a lot more relaxed, it becomes a lot more tense. And so instead of having a relatively loose grip on the bars and letting the bike do what it needs to, we're trying to control the bike a lot more and we're gripping on a lot harder. And so like with any other exercise, like if I grab this kettlebell here, right, and I'm holding this, if I start to squeeze this more, or even worse, I try and get a heavier kettlebell like this one, which is a lot heavier than this other one, my grip is going to fatigue a lot quicker. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we've got at the smallest amount of grip being used on the bike as possible, obviously with still being safe and in control, but we want to have these muscles here, all of these bigger muscle groups doing majority of the work. So how do we do that? So I'll bring you guys over here again, and we'll just move these out of the way. So first thing that we want to do is we want to incorporate some exercises into our training that use our whole body, okay? Multi-joint exercises. And the reason we want to do this is because that's what's happening when you're on the bike. When you're out riding on the bike, you don't have muscle groups working separately. We don't have just your arms working or just your quads working or just your calves working. You've got everything working from head to toe. So what I'm going to do is show you some exercises that you can use and implement as long as you've got a bar, a squat rack, and hopefully some weights as well. So first thing that we're going to do, or first thing I'm going to show you, is what we're going to do. I'll just adjust this a little bit so you guys can see a bit better. First movement that I'm going to show you is called a back squat. Okay, so I'll just move this mat over. So a back squat is where we've got our bar, we've got our squat rack, we can put some weights on once we've done a bit of a warm up. But what we're doing is we go into the bar's sitting on our upper back, okay, just below our neck. We stand up with the bar, we can shuffle back, and then what we're going to do is we're going to push our hips back and bend with the knees, okay? So hips back, bend with the knees. Hips back, bend with the knees. And the reason that the back squat is so good is because when we're doing this exercise, I'll keep this bar on my back. When I'm going down and I'm keeping my chest up and keeping my back straight, that's using my core a lot, okay? It's also using my quads, it's using my hamstrings, it's using my calves, using my feet. It's also using my upper back and my arms as well, because I'm trying to keep everything tight to be able to perform the movement well. So we're getting all of those muscles working together in one exercise, exactly like they are on the bike. Second exercise that's really great for getting everything working together so that we can take the load out of your arms is a deadlift. Okay, so a deadlift, we start with the bar at about mid-shin, and then we're going to lift up, okay? Bend at the hip, bend at the knee, okay, on the way down. Bend at the hip, bend at the knee. So same thing, when I'm doing this and I'm bending over and I'm getting into this position, I'm using my core a lot to keep my back straight. I've got my upper back nice and tight and working hard so that I don't round over. And then I'm also using my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes there as well all at the same time for the one exercise. Okay, exactly like when I'm on the bike. If I grab my bike again and we have a look here, okay, when I'm in this position, my ass is going up and down off the seat, okay, or I'm pulling forward into the handlebars or pushing away from the handlebars. So they're the positions that we want to be working. And the last one that's also great is called a bent over row. So a bent over row, we can bend over to the top of the knee, pull into the belly button, and then down to the knee. So again, when I'm doing this, I've got to keep my back straight, so my core's working a lot. I have to keep my upper back nice and tight and really use those muscles, otherwise I'm just going to round over. When I'm pulling, I'm using my upper back muscles like I am on the bike. And also in this position, I'm also using my quads, my hamstrings, and my glutes to be able to hold myself in position, especially when I start to get up to some of the heavier weights. So as a bit of a recap, okay, ultimately what we want to do is we want to get a lot of the load out of our arms, and we want to get that load into our legs and into the rest of our body. But the problem is you're not going to get the load into the rest of your body and out of your arms if you don't have the strength there to do that for a full race. So we can use things like the back squat that we used. We talked about the deadlift. We talked about the bent over row. And that will give you a good starting point. Start with, say, 4 sets of 10 of each exercise once a week. Start with a moderate weight, okay, a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 effort type weight. Add 2.5 to 5 kilos on each session, and work on building your strength. If you'd like some help with this stuff, you want your training mapped out, you want to take the guesswork out of everything, apply for my Faster Laps program below. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this video.